Hey y'all, it's Ludwin, and I'm happy to introduce to you all a brand that is a personal favorite of mine, and this is going to be their Fall Drop Found Feather. Based out of Japan, they do all their manufacturing in Japan as well as a lot of sourcing for those fabrics in the region, but sometimes, such as, say, for knitwear or for specialty fabrics, they do venture outside and get some really, really special stuff for what they're making. We've had them before, you know their shapes. They have like classic styles, but with elastic backs to just make it a bit easier, a bit more, I don't know, effortless or less fussy. And yeah, it just looks incredibly well executed, and the fabrics really do speak for themselves when you put it on. Let's start off with the first style. We've got on their classic 6-panel. So this is like what you'd expect of like a fitted cap if you're familiar with like New Era's 5950. Just, you know, the classic 6-panel, nice round brim, nothing too crazy, not too long. It's going to be a pretty familiar shape to you all, except that it does have elastic at the back. That does just make it, you know, it's a free size thing. A lot of times you'll see caps off the rack that are like, you have to size like, I don't know, either your true fitted hat size and just try and formulate that down, and sometimes they vary sizes between the same size. This just really takes all the fuss out of it, makes it easy. They're sized small medium or medium large, and I think we have the number sizing conversion on the website. You can check it out. But really, if you know you have a smaller medium head, take that. If you have a larger head, take the medium large, and it's going to work out. This first version that I'm holding is going to be made out of, I believe they're 11-ounce Japanese woven indigo denim. So this is going to be a perfect companion to like any of like those real denim head guys out there, or if you just want a denim cap that doesn't look like a denim cap, you know, like the Jat that I feel like has become very popular. This kind of is done in a bit more of a sophisticated way, the way it wears on your head. I'll show you right here. I don't know. It just feels like there's something more to it, and I think it's just got a nice curvature to it. I like from the side the way that the bill just kind of naturally wants to make that curve. The hat sits a little bit lower profile than a lot of regular ball caps. It's really nice. And then the same shape and in a similar fabrication, instead of being a denim twill, we have just a Japanese woven cotton chino in a really nice, like rich brown color that has a little bit of a sheen to it. It kind of has like a sateen with how finely it's woven. They're both going to have those contrast white stripes to it. It has a little bit of like a work-weary kind of like prep vibe to it, and it does have the white embroidery for the eyelets. Yeah. Eyelets, but sure, grommets, yeah. Something that he does like to do to pay ode to like the vintage caps is going to have that underbrim that is going to be that nice vibrant green that you'd expect. And with these being fall winter variations, they're going to be lined with a cotton lining, so they do keep you warm. The bill, I think, is also something that you notice as soon as you put it on. There's a certain amount of flex to it that you don't expect to it from regular ball cap. It's not like that stiff thing that you put on that keeps like a crease if you try and like roll it. I don't know. It's not something that needs to be worked with to have the perfect shape. It just takes to flexion very well, and they do super good with that. And yeah, those are gonna be the two like lighter weight cotton variants. We have another cotton variant that I guess I'll mention right now. It's the same shape, but except it's done in a Japanese corduroy. So it's a pretty substantial corduroy as well. I wouldn't say wide wale, but it's just very pronounced. It has a really deep luster to it. But we did it in this kind of, it's brown, but it's a very dark brown, like an ebony brown. You can compare it to what I'd say is probably a mid-brown on this one. This reads almost like black when it's not with that. But if you were to lay this next to a black jacket or something, you'd see that it is a brown. Yeah, it just reminds me of those like Lux, like Brisbane moss cords that I think we've done on like Rota trousers, or you see it on like Debon Factor uses it a lot. And it always feels really nice in hand and even looks better as a hat. I'll put this bad boy on. Bam! And this hat, while I mentioned this one had a little bit of like, it's malleable, but it does have some structure to it. He fills these kind of like specialty cloth hats with a leather brim. So it's super soft, super malleable. It's not something you could machine wash. I believe it says it on the tag, so you can look at the care label for that. But it does just really make it this like super soft cap that I think packs really well because it's leather. It's not gonna like take to creasing or folding in a weird way. It's just really soft and resilient, and something that I think is probably gonna wear really nicely over the years. That same soft leather bill construction can also be found in the 6-panel caps that he has going on in a Harris tweed. We're no strangers to tweed caps. We really like them. It kind of brings the like mensweariness to your like accessories, where you can wear it in a more casual context. This isn't something to wear in like a sport jacket of the same cloth, you know. I guess you can. It might look a little costumey, but if you're just wearing this with a classic like OCBD, some like denim, I think it's just a really cool little touch, and it kind of harkens back to, you know, you're an enthusiast. You like the menswear stuff, so wear the Harris tweed. It has the Harris Tweed label on the inside. So if you've been in the game long enough, that's a very familiar thing to you. And yeah, the two colors we have are going to be this brown herringbone like tweed, whereas this one is going to be more of the classic tweed. But the color is a little bit wonky. It's what he calls wasabi. So it has a very like faint green tinge to it, but it's primarily this taupey, grayish, brownish. Yeah, it's going to be a lot of words to describe it. So I think wasabi says it in a. Yeah, they're both like a Donegal tweed. I guess not Donegal. There's a lot of flecking in it, but yeah, it's an English tweed. So very, very sick. And next up, this is going to be another ball cap, but in a different shape. This is what he's calling his two-panel trucker cap. Two-panel, meaning the construction is actually just one panel up here, the same way that a trucker cap's made, where like the front crown a lot of times you'll see is like a foam or like a heavy twill, and then the back is usually mesh. This time the two panels are just fully this Italian, like very high pile plush fleece. The name is Calamai. So that's where he sources this fleece. It's an Italian fleece, and it has this really sweet, like embossed chevron effect, kind of like I guess a herringbone, I think is what he mentioned it as, but with it being tonal, I think it's less evident to see that it's herringbone. But it just has this cool little zigzag pattern happening. It adds texture to something that already had a lot of texture being fleece, and it's just very sick. This was one that we had to get because it reminded us of this like this Pitti image that we took probably like 10 years ago, where it was this guy wearing like an Inverallen knit with like his like fixed gear bike and like a messenger bag. It felt very of the time, but he also had this very, very dope fleece cap, and that's something that just really, I don't know, it's in our brains and it looks really cool. And we've seen fleece caps done over the years. We've tried to kind of capture that and it hasn't quite worked, but I think this is the one that does it. This one works, it looks really good. It has this kind of charm to it. It looks a little bit chunky for a hat. And it just has, I don't know, a really friendly, fun vibe. The color navy, I think, is also very easy to wear with a lot of things. So while it is fleece, it's a little less daring because it is navy. So, you know, give and take. Looks really nice, though. Yeah. By the way, I'm wearing a size medium large in all of these. I'd say that my usual fitted hat size is something like a 7 and like a half these days. So take that for what you will. That's how it fits me. Lastly, we do have some from their knitwear collection. These two are going to be made, they're similar shapes, but different fabrications. This one is going to be more of like the festive one. He did a Nordic beanie last winter that y'all seem to like. So this is kind of our like holiday take. It's made out of an Italian Donegal yarn. And it's knit to be folded up. So if you were to roll it down, you see it does have that like seam there. So you can wear it longer, but it's meant to really be folded up, and it's finished very nicely like so. You can see this is what the reverse side looks like. Kind of has like a Stefan Schneider-esque like bird's eye pattern to it. But you wear it on this, bam, the knits are gonna be free size. So these should be one size fits most. With me on the medium larger side of things, it is snug, but not in a way that it feels like it's too tight. It obviously can form to your head however you want to wear it. Yeah, it just has a really pretty like brown and almost like a very, very light slate blue in that chevron going on. So kind of like snowy mountaintop vibes, very pretty. And the last up is gonna be like, I don't know, a pet favorite for mine. It's a lightweight merino like skull cap. This one's going to be meant to fit very snug around the head, but I think it's just a great transitional piece. And the colors are really nice. It kind of gives me the same vibe as this, where it's like an in-between taupey green color, except it's balanced with almost like a purpley color. I think he even called it purple, but it's not a true purple. I think it's maybe like a slight maroon. And they just complement each other very well. It feels like the colors balance, and it feels like a neutral at the end of the day. And it wears very nicely and snugly. It's not something that's going to keep you too warm while you're walking around, especially like when you go inside of like the grocery store after a cold day. They have the heaters cranked up. You don't want to burn up and take off your hat and make it look weird. You just keep this on, and it's going to regulate your temperature nicely, and you're going to feel good. Yeah, that's what we got from Found Feather. Thank you, Merv, for sending us some such dope gear. And let us know if you have any more questions. Take care, y'all.